Hello, how are you? Thanks for joining. I'm just setting up my computer. Just setting up the computer. Let's see what we've got here. Let's share. Hopefully you can see the, hopefully you can see. I can hear myself. Hey, good evening. How are you? Sicilian. Looks like Sicilian is here. Let's get my chat box up. Good evening to you. How are you? Thanks for joining. Can you see my screen? Yes, you can see my screen. Thanks for joining, everyone. It's interesting setting up these live streams on YouTube. Lots of technical issues. Can you hear me? Yes, I think you can hear me. I have my TV playing too. So, what do you want to talk about today? We can talk about the new home video I did. How is it in the villages? Yeah, it looks like it's working. So you can hear me, you can see me. I verified it on my TV screen. And here we are in the villages. Good evening, Ronald. Good afternoon, Ronald. Thanks for joining. How are you? You can hear and see me. Big changes going on in the villages. I think that's the theme of the live stream today. Things are changing. Did you look at the map? Did you look at all the homes for sale? You see some homes that used to be for sale that are no longer for sale. They just disappeared. Like there were three Oak Hollow Veranda West homes that were for sale yesterday, and today they're not there. So that surprises me. There's a lot of surprises on the map. Let's take a look. Just to summarize my video yesterday, where are all the surprises? The surprises are that Dove model home is still for sale in Water's Edge. That Dove model has been on the market a long time, at least 6 months. It's discounted. Why isn't anybody buying it? About the new homes in Oak Hollow, I noticed some cottage homes with full fences. Yes, those are cottage villas. Let's talk about cottage villas. In my video yesterday, I mentioned them. I actually highlighted them. So you have the Isabella Garden Villas right here, Isabella Garden Villas. Then you have cottage homes with no fences. And then if you keep going south in Oak Hollow, you have cottage homes with fences. These are called cottage villas. And anytime you see the word villa, you can be reasonably assured there's going to be a fence, except for a patio villa. So these are cottage villas, and that's one thing I wanted to stress yesterday is don't confuse this neighborhood of cottage villas with this neighborhood in Well Point, of cottage homes. And that's one thing I actually forgot to include on my video yesterday. These are the Well Point cottage homes. And if you look at the pictures of these, you will see a fence in the backyard, but that's just to divide you from the Isabella Villas. But you will not see a fence on the side. So these are cottage homes in Well Point, not cottage villas. And they even confuse me sometimes. Because years ago in the north, they would build cottage homes, no fences. And that's how they used to build them up until a couple of years ago. I think uh, in the Well Point area, actually, that's when they started building cottage villas with a fence. So it's apparent that they're building the courtyard villas, the bungalow homes, the veranda homes, and now they had come out with a cottage home with a fence. So fences are popular in the villages. That's what I'm concluding. Because up until maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago, you could not find a cottage home with a fence. And now you can. And it's strange to me. I'm trying to show you the fence. Uh, let's go to a different home. This is kind of a bad example because this home butts up against the Isabella garden villas, which are fenced. So if you look at this home, for instance, the Seabreeze, you will not see a fence. So go back. No fences on the side yards. No fences in this neighborhood because these are cottage homes, not cottage villas. No fences. And I wanted to, and part of the video yesterday was to compare the prices of the cottage home with a fence against a cottage home without a fence. And I don't know if I made it clear enough in the video yesterday, but that's kind of what I was trying to do. I was comparing the Anchor home in Oak Hollow to the Anchor home in Well Point, which had no fence. So the Oak Hollow home had a fence. So if you look at, thanks, Ronald. I remember they built a few in the Shady Brook or Moultrie Creek area also. Yes, I think they did. I think those are some of the first areas that they built cottage villa homes in was in that area. Up until that point, no fences. And that's what confused me when I started doing videos in Well Point almost a year ago, probably back in October of last year. I was walking through those neighborhoods in Well Point when they were still in construction, and I walked through a cottage villa neighborhood and I was flabbergasted. I said, here's a cottage villa with a fence. That's the first time I've ever seen it. Do you think they will be building more homes with fences since they are? Yes, I absolutely do. And you can kind of see that with the veranda homes. The veranda homes essentially is a designer home with a fence. And they're building a lot more veranda home neighborhoods. My video yesterday, I think there are at least 3 or 4 veranda home neighborhoods that they are about to release or build in Oak Hollow, in Edenfield, in Well Point that aren't even on the map. And they never built that many veranda home neighborhoods. And the veranda homes are actually fairly new in the last 5 years. They didn't build veranda homes, they built designer homes without fences. And then all of a sudden they came out with these veranda homes like 5 years ago. And essentially it's a designer home with a fence. And they're building a lot of those neighborhoods. So here is the villa neighborhood. Here's the cottage villa neighborhood in Oak Hollow, and you can see right here is a fence. It looks just like a courtyard villa fence. I think that's the wave of the future. See, this home has a fence all the way around it. This is a cottage home. And I wanted to do the video yesterday to compare the same home, the anchor model, with a fence versus without. And in Oak Hollow, with a fence, it was $367,000. And in Well Point, without a fence, the same model was 361,000. So there's like $6,000 difference between the anchor model in Oak Hollow versus Well Point. That's kind of the point of the video, and I think I didn't do a good job of presenting it. So this is, I'm trying to get to the fence picture. And they're building here's the fence picture. So here's another fence. You can see the fence on the side, the fence in the back. Cottage villas with fences in Edenfield. Fingers crossed. Ah, let's see. You can kind of see the village's bond. I'm going to look it up to see if I can see any bond information on cottage villas in Edenfield. So we're going to share. Hopefully you can see the finance and bond information. So, did somebody already answer it? Yeah, the difference is about $6,000. Essentially $6,000 to put a fence up. That's basically what it comes down to. Let's take a look at Edenfield, the bonds. Let's look for the villas. So they're going to be cottage villas. So look at the cottage villas, verandas, Edenfield, verandas. Lots of veranda homes. Here's 2 veranda neighborhoods in Edenfield. Here's another veranda neighborhood going in Oak Hollow, Verandas North. That's not on the map. Here's Well Point, Verandas South. That's not on the map yet. Lots of veranda homes. Oak Hollow, Verandas West. Those are on the map. Oak Hollow, Verandas East. That's not yet on the map. I can show you where they are. So where are these cottage homes? These cottage homes are located in Unit 189V. So these cottage homes are listed in a residential unit, which is interesting. So the cottage home in Oak Hollow Villa is in Unit 189V, 40,852. Which is strange because I would think that those cottage villas would be in this category of villas. So you can see there's inconsistencies with how they present their bond information. So this Unit 189 is actually cottage villas because that's what they call them. They call them a cottage villa. Uh, because if you look at the home series, which one is this? Yeah, this is the villas. They don't have the home series on that home. Let's see if they have it on that home. Do they have series in it? No, they just have home features. Normally they have a home series section. It's like they don't even have a series for these cottage villas. So they it's interesting how they market these homes. This is a cottage home. And here it has series details. This is now in Well Point. This is not a villa or cottage homes. I thought I saw somewhere where they had cottage villa series. Maybe not. But anyway, it boils down to they're charging $6,000 for the fence. And that's the point I was trying to make in my video yesterday. Okay, no worries. Yeah, but that's what I like to do on these live streams is kind of rehash some of my videos because sometimes the message I intended to get across doesn't really come across. Uh, but there you go. There is your brand new cottage villa neighborhood in Oak Hollow with fences adjacent to the Oak Hollow Veranda West neighborhood. And now I notice there are no homes for sale in the Oak Hollow Veranda. There used to be one home for sale. That sold in one day since yesterday. So no more homes in the Oak Hollow Veranda Homes West, which is strange to me because there was 4 or 5 of them available for sale like 2 days ago. And now all of a sudden they're off the map. Did they sell that fast? Are they just slow to update the website? Maybe they sold them a week ago and they never updated the website. I don't know. But you see a ton of designer homes being listed now in Oak Hollow, right here, right along Marshbin Trail. These homes were not listed just the other day. Now there's a ton of homes listed for sale. So those discounted homes in Water's Edge and Shady Brook, they're starting to sell. So now they're releasing these homes here. I also think they have a ton of homes in this section here that they're going to release right here. And this is this is the Well Point Veranda Homes South neighborhood. Those homes are built, ready to go. Well Point Veranda South, right there. That's the neighborhood. One of my subscribers purchased a lot somewhere in here. She said it was south of the Well Point Rec Center. So she purchased a lot in here and she's building. Strange to me that these bungalow homes, aka courtyard villas, they're not selling. Why aren't the courtyard villas selling? Let's see. It's just like the Isabella Garden villas. The small ones are not selling. Here's a Raleigh. That's a small model. Let's see. 1,500 square feet. Not selling. Another Raleigh, small, not selling. Raleigh, not selling, not selling. Here's a Winslow. That's a bigger model. That is 1,800 square feet. Here's another Raleigh. That's a small one. Here's a Charlotte. That's also a smaller one, not selling. So you see the theme of the courtyard villas and the bungalow homes. The 1,500 square foot homes are not selling. These are all, here's another Winslow. Here's an 1,800 square feet. Apparently even 1,800 square foot Winslow, not big enough. People want 1,900 plus square feet. Bristol, that's a bigger model. Bristol, I think some of these they may have just, but you see the theme. It's the small homes. It's just like the Isabella Garden Villas. Everybody's saying the Isabella Garden villas are a failure. They're not selling. I don't think that's the truth. I think it's just like your courtyard villas. It's all the small botanical models that are not selling. The rest of the homes are sold. Serenity, that's a small 1,500 square foot model. So you see a theme here. And the theme is the small courtyard villas and garden villas are not selling, 1,500 square feet. You see a theme of more veranda home neighborhoods. Those are designer homes with fences, essentially. They're being constructed, more neighborhoods. So you see the people want their privacy fences, but they don't want a small home. That is a fact. I think so. I think, yeah, I think the cottage villa home is on a bigger piece of land. You're not so packed in. And the cottage home, I think a cottage villa, if you want privacy, I think a cottage villa for affordability and privacy in a large lot is the way to go. You don't feel so cramped in. Right here, right here. Best value in the Villages, this cottage villa neighborhood. That home is going to be on let's go on an interior lot. You can see these interior lots are similar to a designer home. And that's one of the reasons the Village doesn't build many cottage homes, is because the cottage homes are on a lot that's similar size to a designer home, but it's a low margin home. It's only a $300,000 house, and you're putting it on a lot that you could put a $500,000 designer home on. That's why they're not building that many cottage home neighborhoods, whether it's a cottage home or cottage villa. They are chewing up a lot of land on a low dollar value home. I think the cottage villa, that's why when I was looking to move to the Villages 6 years ago, I was looking at buying a pre-owned cottage villa. The reason is back in the day when they built the cottage villas in the northern part of the Villages, they were built on a lot that was the same size as a designer home. In fact, a lot of times they were built in between designer homes. You'd have designer home, cottage home, designer home, designer home. Uh, so I felt like I was living in a designer home neighborhood, but I bought a home that was, I don't know, $100,000 less expensive, maybe slightly smaller in square foot. Right here, 1,448 square feet. How much more home do you need, people? Why do you need a 2,000 square foot home when you retire to the Villages? You don't need it. I talk to so many people in the Villages that buy these ginormous homes, and 5 years later they sell it because they want to downsize. So many people. So many people regret buying the large home and then selling it a few years later because it's too hard to keep up. So why don't you just buy the right size home up front? It's the let's keep up with the Joneses mentality. Oh, my friend is down there and he has a ginormous house, so I'm gonna buy a ginormous house to keep up with the Joneses. That's what I think it is. No, it doesn't. A cottage villa bond is they're running around $40,000. I don't know if that's higher. It's higher than a patio villa, for instance, uh, but it's lower than a designer home. So here's the bond, 189V. Here's the bond for the cottage villas in Oak Hollow, 40,852. Your designer home bonds are running in that $50,000 range. Your patio villa bond is running in the $28,000 range. Your courtyard villa bond is running in the $40,000 range. So this is kind of equivalent to a courtyard villa bond. How many screens? Oh, share this tab instead. Okay. So, yes. So that was the reason I was interested when I moved to the villages 6 years ago. I was going to buy a cottage villa. They were really hard to find because they didn't make many. And when they made them, they would sell just like that. The pre-owned ones, the pre-owned cottage villa, they would sell really, really fast. That's because you have a lot of land. You feel like you're in open spaces. You don't feel crowded or cramped when you're living in a cottage villa because the lot is similar size to a designer home. I still think the cottage home is one of the best values, even better than a patio villa, better than a courtyard villa. And when they started coming out with a cottage villa with a fence, I thought, wow, that, in my opinion, is the sweet spot right there. But the problem is you cannot buy a cottage home that is concrete walls. I think that's the inhibitor. There are so many people that want concrete walls, which makes a lot of sense in Florida. It does make sense to have a concrete walled home. Even though the hurricanes and the tropical storms aren't so bad in the villages, there are times when it gets really, really windy due to a tropical storm that you wish you were in a concrete wall home. Like the last hurricane, Milton, I was in my wood frame patio villa. I wished I was in a concrete wall home at that time. But that was probably the only hurricane that I wished I was in one. The other ones weren't so bad. But Milton, that was a strong one. And I lived in the north. It didn't get nearly as bad in the north, the wind, as it was in the south. If you lived uh, around County Road 466A, those homes got a lot of wind. Their roof shingles blew off down there. So just a little bit south of where I lived, there were even higher winds. So that's really the only downfall I think with a cottage home is that it's wood framed, but they're reasonably priced. You're talking 323,000 with a $40,000 bond. You're looking at 400 and or $363,000. And the homes I did yesterday, they came out to $239 a square foot. So if you're looking at square foot price per square foot, the best value is the cottage home because of all these homes I'm doing videos on, all these different series of homes. $239 a square foot is lower than everyone else. I'm looking at patio villas that are $263 a square foot. I'm looking at most of your designer homes are in that $250 to $255 a square foot. Your veranda homes are in that 250, 255 a square foot. And then I did these cottage homes video yesterday, $239 a square foot. And the cottage home without the wall was $235 a square foot. So all the new homes, the price per square foot are the lowest on the cottage series. So if you're considering value and you're looking at value as being lowest cost per square foot for a new home, you're looking at it, it's the cottage home. I think it's the best value in the villages is the cottage. And now they're coming out with the walls of cottage villas. No reason. Save yourself some agony of downsizing 5 years from now. You got some of these people move to the villages, they buy these 22, 2,300 square foot homes. And 5 years later, oh, I can't take care of it. I don't want to. My wife thinks it's too much to take care of. And they downsize, and they're downsizing to I don't know, usually it's like a 1,900 square foot designer home. It's still rather big. Sometimes they downsize to a courtyard villa, but they're downsizing. I noticed there's a nice lot in Edenfield with no lot premium and it's on a corner. Don't those usually come at a higher price? Yeah, usually. Edenfield. So you're looking at Edenfield? A lot in Edenfield. There are lots of lots in Edenfield. Here is. Well, the first thing I notice on the map here is that most of these lots on the map don't even have a price. They're priced at zero. So my first comment would be double check to make sure the price is right. Ronald, maybe the pricing is wrong. Uh, because the map is kind of hinky sometimes. So you're looking at a corner lot, 9,000. You say it's a premium. So I'm looking at anything listed on here, 5,000. Maybe it's not a view. Usually the lots are more expensive. They essentially price them by square foot, by the size of the lot. You can have an interior lot that's narrow, and you can have an interior lot that's a little wider. And the wider, larger lot will be priced higher. They essentially price the land by square foot, square acre, whatever it is. But the more land is that's there, is the higher the price. Yeah. Yeah, the home I owned in Wisconsin was about 1,300 square feet. I never lived in a home larger than 1,300 square feet in my life. I lived in a 900 square foot home. I lived in a 1,300 square foot home. Now I'm in a patio villa, which is 1,156 square feet. The only reason I think that people are buying giant homes is because they lived on the East Coast in New York, New Jersey, and they have giant homes and they have lots of money and they buy homes in the villages and they're huge. And as they age, they determine they can't take care of them and they downsize. So that's one of the reasons the villagers sell three times. You hear stories about the average amount that the villager sells their home and moves three times. At least one of those reasons is to downsize. It's on the top left side on Leonard Lane. All right, let's take a look at top left Leonard Lane. Okay, here. 19,000. Zero. So you must be talking about this one. Must be talking this one. Dreaming of building a home? Village of Edenfield. Well, the first thing I would say is your lot is facing west. That's the first thing I would say is your lot is facing west. Interesting. You notice how this road is going through? Something tells me this Leonard Run could be a busy street one day. I know this here is the Edenfield. What's it called? Edenfield Veranda's North neighborhood. It was right here between the two ponds. This green patch. This is going to be the Edenfield Veranda Homes North neighborhood. So this Leonard Lane, I think, is going to be a major thoroughfare to get out to Kerner Street, which then leads out to, what's this called? What's that road called? McNeil Drive. That would be the only thing I'd be concerned about there is you're living on a corner lot. You're going to have a ton of traffic coming down off McNeil, turning in here, driving past your house, going into all these homes in this area and this area. That is going to be a busy street. That's my guess. I think this is the main street. I think maybe that's why it's discounted, or it's not. The one below it, this one, is priced at 0. Yes. So that's my concern with that house. I think it's going to be a busy street. I think it's going to be the main street for most of those residents that live in this area here. They're going to all be coming, driving up here, hit Leonard Lane, going out, or they're coming down from this Veranda home neighborhood, driving south over to Leonard Lane, right past your house. That's going to be a busy street. That's my guess. This one here. So if you don't mind traffic, that looks like it could be a good value. I'm not so sure that I think you're going to have a home behind you. Because I don't think it's a view lot unless it says it in the description. The villages would put it in the description that it's a view lot. It's not a view lot. There's going to be most likely a home back here or something. Unless the villages told you it's a view lot and they forgot to put it in their description, but most often they will have it in the description. View lot, view lot. This one doesn't say view. So my guess is it's not a view. You're going to have something behind you. You're going to be on a busy street. That's my guess. That is my guess. And you're going to be really close to the Turnpike. I'll be honest with you, friends. This neighborhood is way too close to the Turnpike. Wait, what they don't show you between these roads, these yellow lines, is the Turnpike, is an oasis. It's a gas station. It's a restaurant. There are a ton of vehicles that stop here at all hours of the day and night. You have large semi trucks downshifting, making lots of noise. I would not live here. I don't even think I'd live here. The closest I would live would be right here in the village of LaGrange. This is the village of LaGrange, not yet been built. The lots have been parsed out. Who knows? Maybe they're building homes now. But this is adjacent to the Eastport Town Square. This is where I would live. I would wait for a lot to open up here in LaGrange, and I would live here. That's far enough away from the Turnpike. When I stood here and made a video, I could see the Turnpike, and I could hear just very lightly some of the Turnpike noise. I could see trucks driving along the Turnpike when I stood in LaGrange. These lots, these homes are too close to the Turnpike, in my opinion. I would not live that close to the Turnpike. There is an Oasis gas station restaurant 24/7 right in here. Would not be for me. Well, it's a corner lot. It's a corner lot for $10,000 because it's on a corner. It's on the corner of Leonard Run and Couples Place. So it's a corner lot, but I think you're going to have somebody behind you. You're going to have something behind you. Otherwise, it would be labeled as a view site. If there's nothing behind you, if it was this retention pond or if it was natural grass or marshland, it would be listed as a view site and it would be $100,000 more than what it is. So there's going to be something back there. It's not going to be a pond and it's not going to be marsh grass area. It's going to be a home. It might be a power substation. There's going to be something behind you. Who knows? You'll have something back there. You will have something. I agree. You're welcome, Ronald. Yeah, that's too close. This neighborhood is way too close to the Turnpike. Way too close. Yeah. I know this neighborhood here, when the villages built this like 10 years ago, these neighbors here, they would buy homes right on the Turnpike, right along in here. They wouldn't look at the home. They would buy them from in the north. They'd look at it online. They bought it and they moved down here and then they complained about the Turnpike noise and then they asked the villages to build a 10-foot berm, which is a giant dirt hill behind their homes to protect the noise from the Turnpike. That was a big issue, like, I don't know, 6, 8 years ago. This is going to be similar. But what the villages did learn from this fiasco, from this 10-foot berm fiasco here, forgot what the village name is they started building golf courses between the neighborhoods and the Turnpike. That's why you see the golf course on this side over by Sawgrass Grove. That's why you're seeing the golf course here, is because they didn't want to go through another fiasco like here, the residents here, and the residents here. They complained about the traffic and the Turnpike noise, and they had their battles with the developer. So the developer started building the golf courses near the Turnpike, which makes sense to me. That actually makes a lot of sense. At least to give you some buffer, but still, it's not enough. So if you're looking at buying a lot in Edenfield, I would wait for the Village of LaGrange right there. And uh, then you have Eastport, and then you have a couple of designer homes here in Water's Edge. Why don't you buy this spoonbill? If I had to buy a designer home right now, there you have it. Sycamore C. Back of the home is facing east, and you're right next to the town square. This might be too close, but I would look at this one potentially. It's in an awesome location with an east-facing lanai. Here's your Water's Edge Postal and Rec Center. Or you look at some of these homes down here, but they're all back of the home is all facing northwest. I probably would end up buying this one right here. Sycamore C, 2-car garage with a golf cart, 469.5, 1880 square feet. East facing lanai. next to the town square. Best home on the market. Maybe I'll make a video tomorrow saying the best home on the market would be this one. It's discounted. Concrete walls. It does have a wall in the backyard. Separation wall. Some neighborhoods have that. That's the only downer about it. I'm not sure I would like that. But then again, maybe it's nice because you don't have to see your neighbor smoking a cigar in the lanai behind you. But that is one of the best homes. You're talking about the zero lot. The zero lot. Talking about the zero lot. This zero lot. Oh, this one. Yeah, that's not a corner lot. That's not a corner lot. That won't be a corner lot. No, you're going to have somebody built behind you, next to you here, and somebody built here most likely. Or this is probably going to be a street, but yeah, this is not a corner lot. This is going to be a corner lot. I agree. That is not. Zero lot is not a corner lot. 100 for sure. How many people are watching? 19 people watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing and watching. I appreciate it. We're just kind of going through the villages, answering any question that you have. Leave it in the chat box below. I like answering questions. Takes me out of my normal standard routine. So the other point of the video yesterday was you have homes in the premier neighborhood of Water's Edge, and most, if not all of them, are discounted. Discount. Water's Edge, discount. All these designer homes, discounted. All of these Water's Edge homes, discounted. They got the best neighborhood, and they can't sell homes in the best neighborhood of Water's Edge. I'm scratching my head thinking the market is soft. That's what I'm gleaning from this. They're discounting these homes so they can open up the homes in Oak Hollow. Why would you buy a designer home here in Oak Hollow next to Marsh Bend Trail, further away from the town square, when you can buy a discounted home right here in Water's Edge next to the town square in a better location, not next to McNeil Drive or Marsh Bend Trail? That I would like to meet the person that would buy a home here rather than buy the home here. And I would like to ask him why. Because all these Water's Edge homes are discounted. Even this patio villa that came back on the market, the deal must have fell through in the Joy Villas. Even that's discounted. So you'd have these Veranda homes are not discounted in Water's Edge. Veranda homes west, they're not discounted. This is a brand new designer home neighborhood. These are not discounted. These are the Addison patio villas. Well, here's one that's even discounted in the Addison patio villas. Look at this. They're all discounted now in Addison. Look at that. I just discovered something on the live. All the Addison patio villas are now discounted. And they're discounted because they want to sell these patio villas in the Tim villas that are not selling. These are not discounted. The market is slow. I just think that the market is slow. Home sales are slow. And the villages built a ton of homes. My God, they got homes. Lots of them. Yeah, I know. Oh, but there's a lot of people who like to spend money. What is the average? I talked to a realtor and they said that 40% of the villagers have a mortgage, something like that. It's like, really? Who wants to have a mortgage in retirement? Raise your hand. The homes will sell when there are sufficient recreation facilities and convenient shopping. That could be 10 years from now. That could be a long time. That is good comment though, Fran. Fran, you're probably right, but I think it's going to be a while. I do. I saw that the Village's YouTube, they released some videos. There's going to be some coffee shops opening in Eastport. Water's Edge is stuck between two major streets. Who wants to live there? So they need to discount them? Really? Everybody's telling me Water's Edge is the bit. It's stuck between, yeah, it is stuck between, true. Central Parkway is going to be really busy. And this street here is, what's it called? It is, I forgot what this one's called. Bexley. That's kind of true. I often wondered about that. Is this going to be really busy? And how much noise is that going to create to these homes here? You could live here in this Mockingbird, which is in Water's Edge, right here. That's kind of away from the streets. Here, this one. Here's a Sycamore, see right here. Only 2-car garage. It's interesting. The southern part of the Villages is going to be very interesting to watch. Let's go to the Villages YouTube. They announced something. That something's opening up in Eastport. Uh, let's go to the YouTube, to the videos. Cottage Villas. Yeah, they announced that 2 days ago. What's going to Eastport's culinary scene? Oh boy. Eastport's culinary scene. Let's share this tab. Let's see what is going on in the culinary scene in Eastport. Oh my God, it's such an oxymoron. So I want to go to my subscriptions, Villages. Let's go visit channel. Let's go to videos. Culinary scene. The Lucky Goat Coffee Company is coming to Eastport. Tacos and tequila. 2 new businesses. Lucky Goat and Tacos and Tequila. How long do you think it will take Tacos and Tequila to open up? I should hold a poll. Maybe I will. I'm going to post something after my live stream. How many months, or guess the closest date? When will Tacos and Tequila open? That's the first dining restaurant. I think it'll be easy for a coffee company to open. That'll be short. But I think it's going to take longer for some restaurants to serve food to open. And I noticed they really are spending a lot of time talking about the Lucky Goat Coffee Company. That should open fairly easy, fairly quickly. Uh-oh, here we go. Tacos and Tequila. When is that going to open? Anybody know? Or is it going to be kind of like they did in what they did in Middleton? They announced like 10 restaurants and like only two opened within a month or two, and the rest of them it's taken forever. You let me know what you think. Uh-oh. Guess you saw that Costco open. Yes, you got the early scoop on that. Yes. And some people were doubting whether my source was accurate. I was talking to the site manager people. He knows when it's going to open. And they were doubting whether my information was accurate. I think I was talking to the most accurate information you could. He was the guy in charge of building the building. Uh, Very funny though. Human behavior is pretty funny. Until a plaza is built with a Publix, a couple of restaurants, and the other, this area will be a desert. I totally agree. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. Uh, let's go here. What's this one? Put another Hooters in the Eastport. Why does the Villages need a Hooters? Well, the reason is because Hooters is big in Florida. Hooters is a Florida-based chain, restaurant chain. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a Hooters in Florida. The original was in Clearwater, Florida. Flu- uh, Hooters is big in Florida, so they decided to build in the Villages. The one in, I think I lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin at one time. They built a Hooters there. It was only open for a year before before it closed. Isn't a new port going to be built soon? I saw that. Where? I heard that a Portello's was going to be built, but I forgot where. It's not in the Eastport area, is it? Harry and the Natives discovered downtown. Is it in Middleton? Where is that Portello's? I did read something. Where did I read it? How do you spell it? Portillo. Portillo, the Villages. Opening date for new restaurant. When is this? 4 days ago. We have a breaking news story. Portillo's announces opening date for a new restaurant in the Villages. That's not. Has announced the opening date for the newest restaurant located Randy McNeil Way. That is in Middleton, the family area of the Villages near Charter School. Ribbon cutting will take place Tuesday, August 12th. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow, there's a new Portello's in Middleton. Look at that. There's even a picture of it. Nice. See? How long has it been since they announced Middleton opening? Has it been a year? Chicago style chain will be the company's eighth location in the Sunshine State. Smaller dine in only format. What does that mean? Dine in only? You can't carry out? What does that mean? It's a smaller store and offers seating for about 110 guests. Dine in, that means they're not going to have tables outside. Is that what that means? They're not going to have like a picnic table outside you can dine at. I think some of the Portellos, at least in Wisconsin, I think they had some tables outside. Maybe that's what that means. So you have to dine in or you have to take it home. No sitting outside and eating. It does not feature a drive-through either. So there you have it. Is it really? The Hooters is packed every day? What are the age of the waitresses, may I ask? Did you go in? Did you look? I want to know what they are. They age appropriate waitresses, or do they have the young Hooters girls there? A Hooters supermarket? Middleton, yep. Garrow, maybe no drive-through. Yeah, no drive-through. Well, at least it's a restaurant in Middleton. At least you have something in Middleton. I noticed there's a lot of homes for sale in Middleton. Did you notice that, anybody? What's going on in Middleton? Why are all the homes for sale in Middleton? Let's put the pre-owned home filter back on. Look at all the homes in Middleton for sale. I think that's a lot of homes. Do you think that's a lot of homes to be for sale in Middleton? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 homes for sale in Middleton? This is not Middleton, is it? No. Is it? No, Moultrie Creek. It just seems like there's a lot of homes for sale in Middleton to me. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'm keeping an eyeball on Middleton because this is an interesting area here. Just knowing just knowing the villages, this will be an interesting area to keep a track of how many homes come on the market for for sale. Oh my God. What does this mean? The dine-in means that the restaurant is designated primarily for customers who eat their meals on site, either at panel indoor or outdoor seating, rather than offering a drive-through. Portobello's has great Italian beef. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I like it. I ate in Wisconsin at one. I thought it was really good. Really good. But if you look at the picture, there's no tables outside, I don't think. Let's take a look. Let's share. View tab. Oh, I am sharing the screen. Uh, if you look at it, I see no tables outside. I don't see any tables at this Portobello. This is like you dine in or you take your food home. That's the way it looks to me. Yeah, you can see it on the screen. How long have we been babbling? 1 hour and 9 minutes. Milton seems like a good place to visit, but I wouldn't buy a home there. When I walked around in Middleton doing a video like 3 months ago, there were a lot of kids, a lot of high school kids walking around on the streets. They were going to the restaurant, the only restaurant that was open at the time. What's it? What's that hamburger joint? The bar? They were going there to eat, and they're walking down the street, right down Main Street, Randy McDaniel Drive. There were a lot of high school kids. And I know, and somebody made a comment on one of my videos about all the high school kids are going to be at Eastport. And I think that's true. I do. It's going to be somewhat like a Spanish Springs, where you have a lot of young kids from Leesburg, Florida area, and Lady Lake. They go to Spanish Springs at night. That's why there's a lot of problems at Spanish Springs at night. They have lots of issues at Spanish Springs. I think it's possible Eastport could be like that. I don't know. You let me know in the comments below what you think. What is this comment? Planning on moving down there in 5.5 years when I retire, wondering how hard it would be to rent out a house long term. It was looking at those discount homes in Water's Edge. Yeah, you can rent homes. They're renting homes right and left, but the rent fees they're charging are exorbitant. You might be able to buy a home cheaper than renting one. That's the problem with renting in the villages is everybody thinks their home is worth a lot more than what it is, and they increase their rents. It's ridiculous, some of the rents, especially in January, February, March, the snowbird months, the rents are through the roof. You do get a slight discount if you sign like a 12-month lease, but still the rents, they're, I think they're just ridiculous. But do your analysis and let me know what you think. I would like to know what you think, the rents. Middleton has 11 pre-owned homes yes, 11. Do you think that's a lot? I just was surprised to see so many dots on the map, homes for sale, especially if it's a family neighborhood. They are workers of the villages, or they are subcontractors of the villages. Why are they selling their house? Did they get fired? Or is it too, what happened? What's the deal? I just think you're going to see a lot of turnover in Middleton. Maybe 11 homes isn't that many. I don't know. But it just seemed like a lot. Uh, yeah, Milton is for non-retired people. Yeah. And there's a high school, so you would expect a lot of teenagers, and not what the villages was intended. Well, they built a high school there, so they had to intend to have a high school there. Uh, I think it's interesting that they built Middleton and Eastport so close to each other. Obviously, they did that for economies of scale. So, you could have maybe a restaurant open in each location, and they could, I don't know, share food vendors or something. Uh, but the whole Middleton Eastport is going to be interesting to see how it plays out over the next 5 or 10 years. I think it's going to be interesting. But the good news is they did announce a new coffee shop and a new taco restaurant at Eastport. Now the question is, and we should hold a poll, when are they going to open? How long is it going to take for them to open? And they announced it 6 days ago. The YouTube video announcing the two restaurants slash coffee shops in Eastport came out 6 days ago. So they're trying to dangle a carrot and give people hope that there's something going to happen in Eastport soon. I was reading how villagers are annoyed that outsiders are coming in, and yeah. Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I've noticed it. I've even called the community watch team about it. So there are a lot of people that there are a lot of outsiders that use the pools. There's also people that are guests of the villagers that don't get a guest ID card. And you don't know if they're a guest or not. So a lot of times you assume they're a guest, and they're not a guest, they're just a local resident. Uh, but it happens quite a bit. It's one of the sore subjects that comes up every year, usually at district board meetings. They'll talk about them. A certain district will get annoyed that a resident reported somebody using the pool that shouldn't, and they usually discuss these at the monthly board meetings. So that's why I encourage you to at least pay attention to your county government or your district government, because they talk about these. It seems like every year they talk about how to secure the swimming pools. Do they put locks on the pools? Last year, for a fact, I know that I was there and they talked about putting locks on the swimming pools. I forgot what district it was, if it was like a District 9 board meeting. And they went back to the villages and they asked the villages, can you put locks on the swimming pools to prevent people from coming in? The villages came back and said, oh, it's going to cost too much money. And then the subject drops. And then the next year it comes up again. So it's every year it comes up. And then every year the villages pretty much says no. And they find a good excuse, like it's going to cost too much money. And then the subject disappears and then it comes back the next year. But I know a lot of my neighbors are annoyed with it. And I did a video, was it a week ago? I think the reason the villages doesn't want to put locks on the pools, and I really think they don't want to, is because those pools, the bathrooms of the swimming pools are used by the contractors. You have a lot of lawn mowing contractors, landscape contractors. They come into the villages. They're there every day of the week, even sometimes on Sunday. But Monday through Friday, for sure, you have a lot of contractors coming into the villages, mowing lawns, trimming trees, etc. And they're using the swimming pool bathrooms. And a lot of villagers are annoyed with that, including myself, because there's a lot of times I'm at the swimming pool. I have to wait for a contractor to come out of the bathroom so I can go in and use it. So the villages doesn't, excuse me, the villages doesn't want to put locks on the swimming pools because they want to grant access to the contractors to use the bathrooms. I think that's the biggest reason why the villages don't want to put locks on the pools. I was talking about buying a house now and trying to rent it out, actually. Yeah, you could try that. Yeah, I know people who do that. Uh, I'm not one of those guys that like to be a landlord, but some people do, and some people, a lot of people are successful at it. Is it just yesterday you were walking around the empty field now? Yeah, now it's open. Yes, Costco is now open. Costco is a little bit different than a lot of other retailers. When they set their mind to do something and build it, they get it done. They actually establish an opening date and they meet it. Unlike other contractors, other retailers who never really announce a date, they just publish something saying soon to come, and it never comes, or it comes 2 years later. Uh, Costco is different. They are deadline oriented. They publish a date, they meet the date, and I got all that from the site manager, Tony. Very refreshing to talk to somebody like Tony. He gets it done. What is this? Have you been following the village's health story? I think anybody will end up in the Coleman facility as a result. No, I haven't been following the village's health. My guess is that they're going to consolidate. They need to consolidate. They are so fragmented now. They got buildings all over the place in the villages where they're treating customers. And that, to me, a business model with fragmented buildings all over the place doesn't make sense. They're going to consolidate somewhere. It's one of the reasons I think the village's health went bankrupt is because they're just not efficient. They designed the health system to look pretty, but not really produce good results. That's my opinion. Okay, I think 10 or 15 years ago was the village's sweet spot. Things are ballooning out of control because of how large it has gotten. Yeah, yeah. Who knows? They are building too many homes too fast. Yeah, I would have thought that during the pandemic, they kept building homes during the pandemic and they just never put them on the market for sale. They had a boatload of homes available for sale, but they just never listed them. And that's kind of how they control their pricing is they build a home, they don't list them. They don't want to flood the market, which will drive down the price. So they build a home, they just let it sit. And as homes sell, they release more homes for sale. And that kind of controls market pricing, which is an advantage to living in the villages because your home prices don't fluctuate very much. When you have economic downturns, the village's home prices don't fluctuate nearly as much as the rest of Florida or the rest of America. And in part, it's because they are somewhat helping control the home prices. I understand that there used to be full-time monitors at the pools. Make monitors great again? I didn't know that. I didn't know there were full-time monitors at the pools at any point in time. I doubt that. Uh, but what I can tell you is that they increased the frequency of visiting the pools. The pools are essentially supervised by the community watch team and Parks and Recreation. And over the last year, I've talked to them people, and they've said that they've been told that they need to make more frequent stops at the swimming pools to avoid people unauthorizing using the pool. They used to only stop maybe once or twice a day. When I first got to the villages 3 years ago, I would only see the community watch person walk around the pool maybe once, maybe twice a day. It was twice, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. That was it. Now, as of last year, they have to at least stop 4 times a day. So they're increasing their monitoring, and the reason they are is because they're getting much more complaints. People saying people are using the pool unauthorized. So they stepped up the monitoring, but it is still a human being. They drive a white car. They walk around the pool area. They check for identification. But if you're in the water, they don't check for identification. And a lot of people that don't have resident IDs or are using the pool illegally, when they see the white car pull up, they get off of their chair. If they're sitting on the side of the pool in a chair, they get off the chair and they go into the water. I see that. I see it a lot. I do see it a lot. And you don't know if those people are guests or if they are residents of the next town over, but I do see it a lot. And I think maybe they need to revisit that, checking the ID if you're in the water. I think maybe they need to change that. That would be one thing they could do without putting locks on the fences that I think would help. I think it would really help. So what if you're in the pool? Get out of the pool and show me your ID. Because right now, there are too many games being played with people jumping into the water when they see the white community watch car pull up. And I think that one subtle change, I think that would help things a lot. But who knows? So there's Middleton. The whole southern part of the villages is going to be very interesting to me. Oh, interesting watching my live stream. So there we have it. We've been on live for 1 hour and 25 minutes. Uh, any other questions? I'll wrap the live up. I'll go live again roughly the same time next week. I do appreciate you watching my videos. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas of future videos that you want to see. What is it? Today is, yes, Sunday night. Other than that, I think I'm going to end the live stream right there. It was awesome. Good participant. Thanks for the questions. Keeps me on my toes. I appreciate it. Anyway, that's it for the day. I appreciate it. Take care, stay safe. Good luck in your search for your village's home. It's still a great community to live in. It's awesome. It's still reasonably priced compared to other HOAs in the area in Florida. I still wouldn't live anywhere else. Still wouldn't live in on top of the world. I still wouldn't move to Stonecrest. I still would live in the villages, but I don't think I would live in the southern part of the villages quite yet. That is my summary for today. Have fun, take care, stay safe.